There are some voices that never truly fade. Even long after they've left the world, their echo lingers in hearts, in pages, in memories, passed from one generation to the next. Maya Angelou was one of those voices, a writer, poet, performer, and civil rights icon. She was more than the sum of her titles. She was a lighthouse in a stormy sea, guiding countless souls through the shadows of self-doubt, injustice, heartbreak, and fear. Born Marguerite Annie Johnson in 1928 in the deep racial divides of St. Louis, Maya Angelou rose from a childhood shaped by trauma and silence into a woman whose words would shape nations. She knew pain, she knew joy, she knew what it meant to lose everything and how to reclaim power from the ashes of brokenness. But more than anything, Maya Angelou taught us how to live, fully, fiercely, truthfully. In her poetry, in her memoirs, and in her every interview, there were lessons, truths, that transcended her own experience. They weren't just about her, they were for all of us. Today, we journey through 5 of the most profound life lessons Maya Angelou shared with the world, not just as words to admire, but as truths to live by. These are not cliches, they are earned wisdoms, lessons born of suffering and courage, of loving and losing, of falling and rising again and again. Let's begin with the first. 1. Courage is the most important of all the virtues. Maya once said, "Without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be kind and generous for a while, even fair or loving, but without courage, none of it lasts." And she was right, because courage is the spine that holds everything else up. For Maya, courage was not the absence of fear, it was the choice to act in spite of it. It was writing, "I know why the caged bird sings," after being silent for 5 years as a child. It was performing on stage when the world still tried to tell Black women to be quiet. It was standing beside Malcolm X, working with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and never backing down in the face of hate. But courage isn't always loud. Sometimes courage is a whisper, getting out of bed on a hard day, telling the truth about what you feel, saying no when everyone expects you to say yes, believing in yourself when no one else does. In Maya's world, courage was a daily practice. She didn't teach us to be superheroes. She taught us to be human, brave in small, deliberate ways. In our relationships, in our work, in our art, in how we forgive, in how we show up, in how we begin again. She reminded us that the people who change the world are not the ones who never feel afraid. They're the ones who keep moving anyway, who keep writing, speaking, teaching, fighting, despite the shaking voice or the trembling hand. And she lived it. It is something we become through choices, through scars, through time. So ask yourself, where in your life are you waiting to feel brave before you act? What if you didn't wait? 2. When people show you who they are, believe them. At first, this quote might sound cynical, but it's not. It's honest. It's protective. It's liberating. Maya told Oprah this story once. Someone in her life did something hurtful, and when she shared it with Maya, Maya replied, "My dear, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time." This wasn't bitterness talking. It was clarity. We so often romanticize people. We see them not as they are, but as we hope they'll be. We excuse the red flags. We explain away the harm. We wait for the change that never comes. But Maya's words remind us, people tell us the truth about themselves all the time, not just in their words, but in their actions. And when they do, we should listen. This lesson is about boundaries, about protecting your peace, about recognizing when someone's behavior is no longer just a mistake, but a message. It's not a call to judge, it's a call to discern. Maya believed in second chances, she believed in compassion, but she also believed in self-respect, and she knew the difference between forgiveness and self-betrayal. In her life, she walked away from people who diminished her. She honored herself enough to say, "You don't get to treat me like that." This isn't just about others, though. It's about us, too. Because sometimes we're the ones who show who we are through our reactions, our choices, our silence. So Maya's lesson echoes two ways: believe what others show you, but also be intentional about what you show the world. Let your actions reflect the kind of heart, character, and truth you want to stand for. We live in a world of masks and mirrors. Maya Angelou's voice cuts through all of it, reminding us that the truth is always present, if we dare to see it, and if we love ourselves enough to walk away from what dims our light. 3. We may encounter many defeats, but we must not be defeated. Defeat is inevitable, but being defeated is a choice. Maya Angelou didn't just speak those words, she lived them. Through trauma, heartbreak, loss, racism, sexism, and years of silence, Maya was knocked down over and over again. But she never let life bury her spirit, and she taught us we don't have to either. In every one of our stories, there are chapters we wish we could erase, moments we've been hurt, times we've fallen short, years we've spent in darkness. But Maya showed us that defeat is not the end of the story, it's part of how we rise. She once said, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but so many people give up too soon, on love, on dreams, on themselves, because life bruised them and they thought it meant they weren't strong. But Maya reminds us, scars are not shameful, they are signs you survived." When she wrote her first memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, she was terrified. She had held her silence for years, after childhood trauma left her voiceless. But that book became a voice for millions, because she faced her pain and used it as a bridge instead of a wall. This is what she teaches us. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are the light that keeps showing up in the middle of it all. Let yourself feel the defeat, but don't let it define you. This lesson isn't about pretending everything's okay. It's about believing, even when it's not, that you're still worthy of joy, still capable of love, still strong enough to heal, still powerful beyond measure. Maya believed in the long arc of transformation. She believed that we grow through the very things that try to break us, that beauty can still bloom after devastation, that strength doesn't mean never falling, it means rising again with a deeper soul. We may encounter many defeats, she said, but we must not be defeated. Say it out loud, feel its weight, and then stand back up. You're not done yet. Nothing can dim the light which shines from within. We live in a world that tries, daily, to make us forget who we are. There are critics, bullies, losses, rejections. There are people who project their pain onto us. There are wounds we carry from childhood that whisper, "You're not enough." There are places where the world tells us to shrink, stay quiet, dim down. But Maya Angelou was a woman who refused to let the world silence her soul. Her lesson? That our light, our truth, our essence, our joy, is untouchable if we dare to protect it. She said, "Nothing can dim the light which shines from within." It sounds simple, but it's radical, because it places the source of your power not in someone else's hands, but in your own. For Maya, this was more than metaphor. She had lived through the worst of humanity: abuse, racism, betrayal, war. She'd lost people she loved, been told to be silent, been denied opportunities. But through it all, she shined, not because she never felt pain, but because she never surrendered her light to it. This lesson is about self-worth. It's about learning that the glow you carry inside you, your laughter, your vision, your wild ideas, your tenderness, your voice, is sacred, and no one can take that from you unless you give them permission. When Maya danced, she danced with all her soul. When she spoke, her voice filled rooms with grace. When she walked into a space, she brought poetry with her, not just on the page, but in how she moved through the world. That wasn't performance, that was power, that was her knowing that her light was not a favor to others, but a right she was born with. How many of us forget that? How many of us dim ourselves to fit in, apologize for our brilliance, hold back what makes us unique because we're afraid we'll be too much? Maya says, shine anyway, because your light isn't arrogant, it's necessary. The world needs people who are alive inside, who create, who love, who laugh deeply, who care fully, who walk with fire in their step and softness in their hearts. Your light, your spirit, is not meant to be hidden. And yes, there will be those who don't understand it, who try to dim it out of fear or envy or pain, but that's not your burden. Your only job is to keep shining. Let the world adjust, because nothing and no one can dim the light that shines from within unless you let them. 5. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. It's one of Maya Angelou's most quoted lines, and yet, like everything Maya said, when you sit with it longer, it grows deeper. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. What does that really mean? It means that long after the conversation ends, long after the applause fades, long after the years pass and memories blur, what remains, what endures, is emotion. How you touched someone's heart, how you made them feel seen, or safe, or worthy, how your presence left a ripple in their soul. Maya understood this in every fiber of her being. She didn't just write poetry, she was poetry. Every word she spoke was chosen with care. Every interaction was a chance to uplift someone, to remind them they mattered, that they belonged, that they were beautiful and powerful, just as they were. And it wasn't about perfection, it was about connection, because Maya knew our deepest human need is not to be impressed, it's to be felt, understood, held, loved. This lesson is a call to live more intentionally, to ask, how do I make people feel? Do I lift them up, or do I leave them drained? Do I speak to impress, or do I speak to connect? You can have the best ideas in the world. You can be talented, brilliant, articulate, but if you leave people feeling small, unseen, or unheard, you've missed the mark. Maya didn't need to dominate a room. She filled it with grace, and people remembered that. They remembered how she made them feel brave, heard, whole, that they had permission to live fully, to heal loudly, to love without apology. So much of her legacy isn't just her books. It's the feeling she gave people when they encountered her, the healing they found in her words, the permission she granted just by existing as her full, bold, beautiful self. We all carry that power. And we'll be remembered not for how perfect we were, but for how present we were. Because in the end, people forget speeches, they forget achievements, but they remember the energy we brought, the warmth we shared, the way we made them feel safe, or hopeful, or loved, in a world that so often forgets how to care. So let this be your legacy too. Make people feel something real, something kind, something unforgettable. Because Maya Angelou's greatest lesson may be this. Maya Angelou left this world in 2014, but her words, her wisdom, her light, they haven't gone anywhere. They live on. In books, in classrooms, in voices like yours and mine, in quiet moments when we need strength or grace or hope. These 5 lessons: be courageous, trust what people show you, rise through defeat, protect your inner light, and lead with heart, are not just truths to admire, they are ways to live, day by day, choice by choice, moment by moment. Maya once said, "I come as one, but I stand as 10,000." And when we carry her lessons with us, when we honor her courage by living our own, when we light candles with her flame instead of waiting for permission, she stands with us. So the next time the world feels heavy, the next time your voice trembles or your hope wanes, remember Maya, and remember this: you too are a light, and nothing can dim what shines from within. Touch hearts,